Hey y'all, what is up? Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. It really just depends if you're new here or not. I have not been feeling like myself lately. That has been the main reason for the lack of content and the not so great content whenever it is put out there. Bear with me. Starting to feel better. I'm going through the emotions of just getting there, so just continue to bear with me as I'm going through this whole journey and process. I recently made a video talking about Eugenia Cooney's dad and brother again, and this is something we've talked about in the past on this channel, but I found those videos to be fairly interesting, so I wanted to make them anyway. Again, they were not done as well as I wanted them to be, but I'm just haven't been in the mood really to do videos properly how I want to do them, so that was, I guess, the excuse for that. But this video, a lot of y'all, since we brought up the Draw My Life that Eugenia Cooney has done before, a lot of y'all were interested and wanted to see it. Now, that Draw My Life video from Eugenia Cooney is actually an older video that she did over on YouTube, and it's since been deleted on her main page, but it has been re-uploaded by lots of people. Also, I reacted to this video actually a really long time ago on this page, but since I've reacted to it, I have gained so much more new information. I've seen so much more conspiracies and speculation on the situation, and my opinion has changed drastically since I made that original video. So I figured this will kind of be like a, hey, we're going to react to this again, but with updated thoughts and opinions. And a lot of y'all have been new since I've reacted to that the last time, so a lot of y'all probably haven't seen it. Now, in that Draw My Life video, it's actually really interesting looking back at it because she says a lot of really questionable things that concern me for her, and it was overlooked. And sure, even when she uploaded, there were some people like, this is kind of weird, and, you know, this isn't normal, like, are you good, girl? But it was pretty much just brushed under the rug, and people forgot about it. That is, until moments like this will happen, where she's clearly not doing well at all, and going through a hiatus, and people are like, hey, what about the family? And that's when all these conversations get going again, especially bringing up that Draw My Life video. So without further ado, we're just going to be diving right into it. So yeah, just be prepared to be uncomfortable, I guess. Now, her saying that made me raise an eyebrow a few times, and even in the very first video that I ever made reacting to the situation where she did the Draw My Life, I remember I was like, what do you mean it took you a year to get out of your car seat, and you were kept in your car seat for a year before your legs started to work? Now, I feel like a lot of girlies on this channel are mothers themselves, and if you're not a mother, I'm sure you're just not an idiot and you have basic knowledge that a baby starts crawling around a few months after it's born, like 6 months-ish, 7 months-ish, and they just pop up one day and get going, walking around anywhere from like that 9 to 18 month mark. Now, again, it's different for every baby. I'm just saying that's like the typical age ranges that this starts to happen for them. But again, it's different for every child. Sometimes they skip the crawling altogether and just pop up one day and walk after you as you're grabbing the Cheetos. It happens. But also, the car seat situation is something that's always driven me pretty nuts. Now, my son was premature and he was not really into the crib for a while, but I do think it's because I just nuzzled him all the time. So I think he just, when I would put him in the crib, I think he was like, oh, so we're really not holding me right now, is that what's going on? He wasn't a fan of the crib. I made accommodations. I bought different things. I set up safe areas in my house, even on the couch. I put a lot of safe spaces up just to make sure that he can lay down, he can be comfortable, he has more spaces than just the crib. Since he wasn't that into his crib, he would sleep in it at night, of course, but during the day, naps and everything, nah, he did not want nothing to do with it. So I feel like as parents, we make accommodations for our babies to make sure that they are able to be a baby and do it in a safe space. But I also understand letting your kid rest in a car seat for brief periods of time because, again, it's not really that great for them to be in there for too long. You don't want any developmental issues. So for her mom to have just kept her in a car seat for about a brief year, which is what Eugenia says, and called it a bucket, yeah, I don't know. Nah, I'm not trying to judge a mother, but I'm judging that. And this always takes me back to this argument that I've had in the past with people, and also ones that I've seen on the internet, and even in real life, time and time again. anybody, almost anybody, can birth a baby or create one. Depends if there's medical issues or not, of course, but anybody can pretty much pop out a baby, but not everybody can be a parent to that child. And Deb reminds me so heavily of that saying because I always have seen her as Eugenia's parent, of course, but she's one of those parents who more so just had a kid and wasn't necessarily the parent, just because I feel like she lacked a lot of aspects that would make her a parent to a child. And I feel like if anything we're going to learn from this Draw My Life is the fact that Eugenia was pretty... So I know Google isn't the most trustworthy thing if you need advice or need to know something. I understand you can't trust everything on the internet, but I Googled it. Now I asked Google, why the hell would a school recommend for a kid to take riding lessons, and multiple things popped up. This saying that it's more than just having fun with the horse. It's more than just riding a horse. It's about like teaching a child patience, communication, self-discipline, and the biggest one, accountability. It's about teaching kids confidence and perseverance and teaching them how to set goals and then obtain those goals. And it can also be very, very therapeutic. And as we get a little bit later on into this Draw My Life, there's clear signs that teachers at the school were worried about her in some way, shape, or form. But Deb just went against it and was like, you know what? I'm the parent here, and instead of doing something that could benefit my child, I'm just going to enable something that they're currently going through by buying more of what they're using to cope with what they're going through. And, you know, just thinking about it now, because this is something I never really thought about until now, the schools and the teachers are probably super frustrated by Deb as well. Imagine working at a school and you have a child like Eugenia who clearly has either went through something or just doesn't have it great at home. So you're doing your best as the teacher or the guidance counselor or even hell the principal to kind of reach out and talk to the parent and try to see what you can do on your end and how you can talk to that parent to try to come to some form of agreement or terms with what would be best for the child and how to just better that child's life as is right then and also future. And I actually know somebody who was a teacher, and they used to go school shopping for clothes, shoes, certain items that would be needed like book bags, binders, notebooks, the markers, pens, so many things that a child would need to start school and feel confident about starting school, just because the parents weren't able to afford or purchase or even find a way to obtain certain things that their child would need to start back. So she would go out of her way to make sure that she could work with the parents to make sure that the kids are having what's needed or wanted starting back. So yes, Eugenia is not the teacher's kid, so it's technically not necessarily their problem, but at the same time, them signing up to be a teacher, I'm sure that they genuinely do care about the kids that they're working for and that they're teaching. And it would be pretty frustrating to see a child who's clearly in need of something, and you try to talk to the parent, you try to find healthy outlets for the kid, and the parents just disregarding everything. And it's probably also really frustrating to those teachers because they were just people on the outside looking in, not knowing the full situation, but wanting to be hands-on and helpful, and just getting shot down every opportunity that they probably had to recommend to someone. Frustrating because I understand if your child likes a celebrity or a singer or whatever the case may be. If they're having events or concerts, it would be super fun to be able to take your kid to experience a concert or two, but to travel the United States, going from state to state just to attend these concerts while she's supposed to be in school, while she's supposed to be getting an education, and also while people at her school are showing concern for her and saying, look, I think we need to find some healthy outlets or something that she can express herself with. Horseback riding would be a great outlet for her. Oh no, I'm just going to buy her more Bratz dolls and actually pull her from school because we have a lot of concerts to attend. Like, I understand wanting to make your kid happy, but at some point you have to prioritize them, and sometimes they have to do things or go through things that they're not going to like, but it will be helpful down the line for them. And yeah, 100%, as a parent, it's up to other parents, myself included, to make sure that we are taking care of our kids properly, and sometimes we do have to, put them through situations if it's going to better them that they're not going to like, they're not going to be very happy with, but it's going to help them in the long run. And if you're just trying to be a friend to your child and enable them further and disregard the things that's going to actually be beneficial to them, just to, again, be a friend and take them to see some concerts that would make them happy in the moment. Yeah, Deb, we're judging you. But that's weird and suspicious. I've heard of quiet time. I've heard of healthy distractions. I've heard of sitting in a circle and expressing your feelings, but I've never heard of let's just put our hands together and call it hooking up time, because what? So that's weird, that's suspicious, but also at the same time, Eugenia literally just admitted to missing school so that she can stay in New York because New York was fun. And yeah, Eugenia wasn't always the smartest person, even prior to losing a lot of her cognitive ability with this disorder that she has and has had for a very long time. Of course, you're going to lose some cells at some point and not have your neurons firing amazingly. It happens in situations like this. But I don't necessarily blame her entirely for this because, and again, a lot of people have that argument that she's an adult, she can move out, she can do whatever she wants, she's an adult, she's got this, she just chooses not to do it. But also you have to understand as well, this is my argument, she was basically conditioned by Deb to a very high degree. Her education clearly was not prioritized, her health, her well-being, clearly not prioritized. So yeah, I blame Deb because she was a kid. If my mom told me I can stay home from school and we'd go somewhere like fucking New York, I would be so excited. But she made me go to school. Made me go to school. Even on days I woke up and cried because I did not want to go to school. Guess what? You're getting your education. So wipe your tears. You're going to feel bad for a bit. Come home. You can cry again if needed, but we'll talk about it because your education is important, and that's how I was raised. Now, I had really bad days sometimes where she would find it acceptable for me to stay home, but again, I went through a lot of trauma shit as a kid, so I think that also played a factor of her sometimes letting me stay home, but we would be home, and it was very made clear to me that if I was not going to be in school, I was not going to friends, I was not going outside, I was going to be indoors because I'm missing out on a part of my education to be home. And there might be some people who's like, well, that sounds like a very militant mom and not a fun one. And I thought that growing up too, but now that I'm an adult and older, I understand that she did everything for my well-being and for my education, and she just wanted me to have the best possible chance at life. So I really applaud her for that now. And if I had a mom like Deb who enabled bad behaviors and didn't actually look out for me properly as I got older, I would 100% judge that. But for the case of Eugenia and Deb, it seems like when Eugenia would have these shortcomings or have these bad moments or even downfalls, she would be rewarded instead of disciplined. She was never taught accountability from a very young age. She was taught that she could do pretty much whatever she wanted and then be rewarded for it. And the end of it, no matter how bad that the outcome was, she would still get rewarded. And not just with Bratz dolls, a toy that was very popular for a lot of young girls growing up, but going to concerts, traveling the United States just to see her favorite people perform concerts, and skipping school to go to New York City because she loved the city. None of that is in the slightest bit healthy. And again, she was a child. She could not make these decisions. Deb was the one pulling the strings and allowing for this to happen. So yes, Deb has failed her from a very early age. And in my opinion, Eugenia, yes, is an adult, but she has been conditioned to think a certain way, be a certain way, and believe a certain way. In my opinion, it would take years of therapy and sessions for Eugenia to undo damage that Deb has done to her from a very early age. But also, that would never happen because Deb would never allow Eugenia to go get therapy. She didn't even want her to be 5150 when she desperately needed it. And on such a short video, people are going to be in the comment section, oh my god, all she does is yap. She's not even playing the video. She's playing 20 seconds of it and then just talking shit. Yeah, it's called commentary, babe. But technically speaking, it's also called copyright, babe. I can't just play another video from another person without giving value to it. Now, when I first reacted to this video, I'm pretty sure I remember calling the guidance counselor creepy for his comment about wanting to be her dad. But now my thoughts have kind of changed. Sure, I think it's kind of weird to be like, I want to be like a parent to you. I don't think that's something I would, just be saying. But at the same time, it's a guidance counselor, so I feel like they listen, they hear, and they see things even that the kid might not be talking about. Now, I don't know if this was technically the case for when she was this young. I don't really know. I don't know. But she did openly say how her dad works out of state, just a little bit over, a few hours away from her, for a few months out of the year. Like she said, 8 months out of the damn year, he would be, kind of away from home working. And clearly went through issues at home, and I feel like Deb, just instead of getting her proper help for that, would of course enable her and do a lot of things with Eugenia that just was not helping whatsoever. So I think with the guidance counselor, and again, I don't know, could be a creep, we don't know, but I feel like he was technically just saying, look, I want to be like a father figure to you, out of like a kind place. Probably seeing how Eugenia didn't have her father around very much, and the parent that she did have was Deb. Holy hell, the parent that she did have was Deb. So the guidance counselor probably felt a way about that. And I'm somebody who, I understand sometimes it happens. I understand sometimes parents are single. I understand. I'm a single mother myself, okay? So I want to be very clear. I'm not sitting here taking jabs at anybody for not having both parents in the kid's life. But I do think that it's very crucial for any kid, whether it's a boy or a girl, to have both parents, or at least, a mother type figure and also a father type figure. I feel like it's crucial for a kid. I feel like you learn things from both parents, and I also feel like there's a different connection for both parents. Yes, they're both parents. Yes, you love them both dearly, but I always think that's how it was for me growing up personally. I loved both my mother and father, but I talked to them differently, if that makes sense. So the guidance counselor probably felt like, since she did not have her dad present and he really wasn't there for her, and saw how the mom was enabling certain behaviors, he probably thought, you know what, I want to be a father figure for you. I want you to be able to talk to me about things as well. And I'm not going to keep this commentary going, because I do want to get back to the video, and I want to finish out the video before I come back to give commentary. So let's just get back into it. Now, this segment right here is, yes, there was a lot in this video that I felt like we could talk about, because it's weird and very enabling on Deb's end, and just what the fuck's going on, but I feel like this part right here is what really did it for a lot of people, myself included, because what the fuck do you mean you love your mom but you feel the need to express it's not incest? And her reasoning right there under the heart of why loving her mom is not incest, because mother and daughter, literally just says because mother and daughter. What does this mean? Do you know how weird and off-putting it is for somebody to say, I love my family, and, I love my mom, but it's not incest, I promise. Like, it's not, nothing weird, no, like, no, it is, like, because mother and daughter, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Also, I feel like this is important to say, I've seen a lot of people who, have talked about this video again, or who has brought up certain things that she's done in the past, and people are like, well, the humor was different back then. It was more edgy humor, more, like, joking about pretty much like anything, and it was just a joke because it was edgy humor. It's just a time period. No, sorry, but no. I'm not accepting that, because no matter how edgy the humor was, saying you love your mother but having to claim it's not incest because mother and daughter, that's not an edgy joke. That's just like fucking concerning. Also, what if the Nutcracker was Deb? For context, okay, I just realized I was so out of context for those of you who don't know. She made a video before talking about like weird dreams or something. I can't remember. It was like weird things, something. It was a video. It was a video where she talked about things, and she brought up a person in a Nutcracker outfit who would come into her room late at night. She always chalked it up to being a dream because she asked her mother about it, and her mom denied it. What if Deb was the Nutcracker? And just to be very clear, that is speculation. Of course, we don't know. Of course, that's just, all that is speculation. That's just me giving my thoughts on the internet. I'm not saying it's a fact. I don't want to be sued. It's just uncomfortable, because what the fuck do you mean? Also, her talking about how her mom was kind of like down and out because her own personal issues, so her grandma would come to the house a lot and, help pretty much with, I guess, the parenting, the house in general. I guess it just wasn't great, so the grandma would come over and help pull or pick up some of the pieces that Deb couldn't do on her own. And honestly, I'm not even gonna judge that because I'm a parent and it takes a fucking village. I will admit that. I'm a single parent, so it definitely is needed sometimes to have an outside helping hand just be there to help. But also, I'm judging Deb. I'm judging Deb for a lot of reasons. Mostly because of everything we know about what's been going on to this day of her. Not just because of Eugenia's situation in general. And a lot of the judging is coming from this video right here of things that Eugenia has openly admitted to. This video right here is pretty much proof because Eugenia admitted it herself. Her mom was an enabler. She would not take the school's advice or other people's advice clearly about what might be better for Eugenia. Again, she's the parent. It's her call at the end of the day, but just because you're the parent doesn't necessarily know, it doesn't necessarily mean that just because that's your kid, what you're doing is best for that child. And again, as a parent, I feel like we would like to believe that what we're doing is going to be what's best for our kid, but sometimes we do need to listen to other people. Sometimes we do need outside opinions and provoking conversations on, yeah, this is what you're doing, you think it might be right, but this is just what I think we should try. It's okay to try sometimes, even if it's not necessarily the first thought you had for your kid. But if I was recommended my child getting into horseback riding for some therapeutic reason or because they're going through something and it might just be a helpful outlet, the last thing I'm going to do is go and enable my child with something that the school was concerned about in the first place. This just also goes to show that from a very young age, people outside of Eugenia Cooney's family was calling out this behavior of not just the mom, but of Eugenia, saying, look, I want to be a father figure to you because you need to talk to somebody, something needs to be happening, like, are you good, what's going on? And then also the, I guess, counselor, the school speaking to Eugenia's mom, being concerned about things, recommending outlets for her, and then I knew the fucking phone was gonna ring, y'all. I'm psychic. But yeah, what I was saying, I think that this whole Draw My Life video just is from Eugenia's mouth herself, of course, basically just saying, yeah, I was cooked from the start. I just never realized it. But yeah, I want to know y'all's thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. There's going to be a lot of people, probably, who's like, wow, she took a, 5-minute video and turned it into this, wow, almost 30-minute video. But I had a lot of thoughts and opinions, and again, I talked about this video before. It was very short, but I had a lot of updated information on the situation and the subject, so I just wanted to talk about it. And I'm very curious y'all's thoughts and opinions, so go to that comment section and let me know down there. Let me know down there. I don't even think I said that properly. What y'all think? I want to know y'all's thoughts, so jump to that comment section and let me know down there. Yeah, I will catch you in the next damn video. Alright, bye.